This episode of the Amp Hour is sponsored by Club Jameco, part of Jameco Electronics, a leading component distributor for over 35 years. Club Jameco allows you to upload your kit ideas and start selling to your peers and the public at large. You never need to purchase large lots of components up front or bag and ship your kits. Sign up and submit your design, and if it's chosen by the community, you can start making up to 10% on the cost of your kit. To learn more and see some of Chris and Dave's favorite kits, go to clubjameco.com/theamphour. This is the Amp Hour podcast, recorded November 19th, 2012. Episode 122, Plentiful, Perfunctory Programs.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Chip Report TV and Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
Hey Chris, I'm back.
You are. Welcome back, Dave.
Thank you. You held down the fort last week?
I did. Nice interview with Zach. He was a great guest.
Well done.
I enjoyed it.
Excellent.
But
sorry,
Dave,
I missed it.
You had promised me Mars, and instead I got Facebook. What's up with that?
Buzz Aldrin is pissed.
Buzz Aldrin. I thought we'd jump right into that. We were talking about that before the show.
Yeah, we were.
It was great.
I
man.
love Buzz. I love Buzz.
I do too.
It's great. It's good value.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And we
went
were
to the
just
moon and
talking
stuff.
about how we need to find an image of Buzz Aldrin flipping the bird.
That's
so
right.
I'm putting this out like, casually flipping the bird, like, flipping it Weidler style, like the famous Weidler poster.
Right.
So
we're looking for another T-shirt here. That's the ultimate.
So we're going to crowdsource this one. If you can find us a photo of Aldrin flipping the bird, please post it. And he makes a great point. I mean, we were supposed to have Mars colonies by now, and
Right.
we've got bloody Facebook. And if you look at it, how much Facebook is worth and other companies like that, we
quote,
probably, could have gone to Mars, right?
Right.
It's
Well,
unbelievable.
it's all about priorities, really. I mean, but yeah, I had posted about this because it's like, well, even in the midst of what we talk about, right? Like Kickstarter and the kit business and consumer level or even professional level electronics. Sometimes it seems kind of trite compared to the really big goals of going to the friggin' Mars.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's big goal.
I'm doing a pissant power supply kit. What? Why?
Right. It's.
I'm always talking about I can fly to the moon on 2 watts.
Right. Well, prove it, man.
Why not? I know. Slacker.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's a very valid point.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about it. I guess if anyone did, they'd probably start doing it. But I mean, we see people like Elon Musk. I mean, Elon Musk has said,
"Oh yeah, of course, yeah."
That's part of
He's not
SpaceX
mucking
is getting
around.
to Mars, right?
But you got to have money or power or both, right? Just
Both
having
helps.
the drive and just having the drive, and the ambition and the ideas isn't enough. Because these grand things take grand amounts of money and, grand
Yes, very
amounts
true.
of resources. And nobody since Kennedy has had the balls to, the vision to, lay them out there and go, right, we're going to do this. And, yep.
Yeah, I always wonder about that because, I'm not an economist and I wouldn't, ever dare become one. But I always wonder about like what that means for in terms of like, I think we might have talked about this 2 weeks ago even of just like the multipliers of, if you put $100 into a space program, you not only get like the people then going out and buying test gear and paying subcontractors and stuff like that, but also like the future investment that you get from the apples forming later on based on commoditized technology and all that kind of stuff and and in terms of the economic development that is really long term. So it's
impossible
we devolved
to see
into
that.
politics really fast, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
And the point is, it's impossible to foresee those sorts of things. You know, from putting your money into, say, you know, a good space program or something, you know, it's
it doesn't have
hard
to just
convince
be space,
people that there are so many spin-off benefits for an entire country or an entire planet or an entire industry or all three. You know, it's
and sometimes rightly so. It's tough. I mean, like a lot of companies are having a tough time right now. You know, it's a lot of them. Aside from the fact that a lot of them have trouble at the top seeing past the next quarter. I mean, it's tough just seeing the next year because of slowing economies and everything else. So it is tough. It's
well. This is one thing a little whinge I had on the list here is that it always comes down to that one big number. You know, how much did you earn this quarter or this year, and how much are you paying the bloody shareholders? And and I was just reading a release from Agilent, right? And they're going, yeah, we made X billion this year, and we're returning X, amount of cents to shareholders and improving their value. Wank, 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 and like all of it seems that the technology and the products are just down in the noise, like they just don't matter.
Yeah,
and it's like, whereas
until
engineers,
like the business dried up.
Right, until they don't sell
they
anymore.
Say,
their
why
products,
didn't we invest? We need to invest. And then they go back to ignoring it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, TI are going to axe how many?
1,400 jobs.
1,400, they're giving the arse. Yep. They're all getting the arse.
I think that's
1,700. 1,700,
sorry.
1,700,
okay.
So sorry to anyone who's working in the OMAP division, because I think that's where most of the cuts, or a majority, or all of them, perhaps,
that's the main thing they're getting rid of. I mean, this is kind of the race to the bottom of ARM and tablet type wars, where you have chip processor companies that are manufacturing the chips. They're all using similar IP. A lot of it's ARM based. A lot of it has peripherals wrapped around it. But then it's but
it's interesting.
It's just really hard to play in that market.
These companies are moving out to their own to manufacturing their own chips now. Like Apple's making their own chips, and now they're talking. I mean, I think we might have mentioned it a few weeks back, because this isn't new news about TI wanting to spin off OMAP. It's been in the news for quite some time that they're looking to perhaps sell the OMAP division perhaps to Amazon for their Kindle, because Amazon use the OMAP in the Kindle. They're probably the OMAP's biggest customer. I don't know, but I would suspect they'd be one of the biggest, if anything. And,
I was looking at this and I was thinking, when we talked about it, I was thinking about the OMAP. I'm like, this isn't something that should just go to Amazon, because what about everybody else? And I mean, I didn't realize it was kind of an all or nothing. Like, well, if it's not going to someone, it's going in the toilet. We're just gonna throw it away.
Well, they're throwing away the R&D on new ones. They're still going to manufacture it, I think.
Right. Well, yeah, that's where the
even if the sale doesn't go through, that's where they're making the cuts. They're making the cuts in the R&D side of things.
Right, which means it's dead. I mean, no one's going to design it in now unless
that's right. Everyone goes, now is where engineers like us go, oh, shit, I'm not going to use OMAP anymore. I'm going to have to transition because...
I'm not going to touch that.
I mean, as soon as this article comes out, you instantly go, oh, shit, the game's over, right? I'm moving.
Yeah.
Right? I'm
definitely.
packing up my bat and ball and I'm going home. Or going to another vendor.
Well, yeah, you could do that. I mean, you could risk it. I mean, you could try it now and say, oh, well, maybe I'll get lower price parts, but that's just a short-term thing, right? I mean, eventually it's just going to start ramping.
Exactly. They would have customers, just like most of these big chip companies do, they have them tied up in supply contracts. So it's not like they can just break them. So they have to continue to manufacture these chips. But rarely is, I don't think I've ever heard of one where there's a contract which says we have to continue to develop a product and improve upon it. So, you just have to make it for the next 10 years.
You have to support it as well.
You have to support it as well, yep.
There's no more of that trusty Xilinx tool where you say, oh, it's not working? Upgrade the software to the next version. Well, you can't upgrade to the next chip version. There is nothing but errata, so deal with it.
Right.
I mean, and it's nice for that. I mean, in terms of like a chip manufacturer, they probably like it because now it's just all money, right? I mean, it's just all make the process more efficient. You shrink the die as much as possible. You try to keep it, you keep your process controls in place, but eventually, you're not spending any new money on it, so it looks really good in the accounting books. But in terms of longevity of a product, obviously it's dead in the water. So that's kind of what you were talking about with the one big number. I mean, this kind of move looks great for that one big number.
Oh, of course.
Share price bounced up because now expenses drop, right? I mean, all these engineers now are not even just engineers. All these people are now not on the books anymore. And of course, this looks great.
Hello,
margin goes up.
Shout out to Altium there. Sorry.
That's okay. I mean,
so
it looks great for shareholders, but it's such short-term thinking that it's just like, and we see it all the time, right? It's just,
of course.
It just happens continuously. But I was concerned about this for the Beagle Board, the Beagle Board project. And,
it's based on
because
the
that
OMAP.
uses OMAP, right? And that's actually, so I actually saw, Jeff Kaiser was talking about that, and then Jason Kreidner cut in and he said, no, it's only on the original Beagle Bones that the OMAP is on. The Beagle Board, the original Beagle Board has the OMAP. The Beagle Board XM and the Beagle Bone do not have OMAP processors.
They use some other ARM, do they?
Yeah, the Beagle Bone uses a Citara, and I had kind of blown this out of the water. It's another TI processor, another ARM-based.
Oh, right. Okay.
I think it's single core, though. I could be wrong about that.
Right.
But basically, it's... I even told my coworker about this today. I was like, TI shutting down the OMAP line. It's like they're shutting down their whole processor line. I said, really? And then I kind of stepped back and I said, no, that's not true because, they still have MSP430, they still have Citara, and they, I think there might be another
they got a
couple
whole bunch of stuff.
ARM lines. Yeah, I don't know the whole range of it. But at the same time, it's crappy.
And
right?
here's where all your ARM fans jump out of the woodwork. No problem. ARM, beautiful. You just, solder in a new chip from another vendor.
Yeah.
Ain't that easy. You got to do significant engineering to change ARM vendors. Or even the same vendor to a different ARM product within the same vendor. You have to do significant engineering with that.
I had posted an article, actually an EDN article about there was one processor to rule them all. It was talking about ARM. And the author was talking about, could this happen? Could there just be one ARM or, just one platform? And I said, no, that's not actually the question that should be happening here. It's should there only be one processor family or, one architecture or one, one overall way of doing things, and I think no. I mean, I think sure it can be great. It can be it can be a majority holder, but what happens if ARM takes a dump tomorrow, right? And what if
history has shown that it doesn't happen. I mean, there's nothing new in today's market that makes ARM magic. This could have happened 30 years ago, right? And it's Intel with their huge run where Intel was using bloody well everything, but there's always those niche markets or those other big markets that aren't catered for. It's just, it's just not going to happen.
This is just the majority case, right? I mean, this is just a lot of people are using ARM because the licensing is there, and it's a good core to drop in, and you can get rid of all your overhead, also known as your engineers that work on processor architecture, right?
No, if you're betting on ARM is going to be 99.9% of processors used in every single electronic product on the planet in the next 20 years, I think you're dreaming.
Yeah, exactly. Because as soon as they become the sleepy giant, then some other young upstart comes and starts
and comes out with a free core. Hey, look, there's no licensing fee. Hey, how's that?
Yeah, right. And I thought I saw that MIPS didn't MIPS get sold? I didn't actually post that story.
I don't know. Haven't heard.
I thought I saw that MIPS was no longer because they were a company and a core. I thought the company got divvied up among a bunch of people.
Okay.
But the core is still around because that's in a lot of products.
Yeah, it's in the microchip 32-bit PICs and stuff like that.
Right.
So, and in quite a few others. It's fairly popular.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And so, I mean, it's not like ARM is the only one, but that's the way it should be. I mean, there should be competition among them because that's going to cause the greatest amount of innovation. What else will push ARM? It's just like, I don't know. Yep. I'm not a very big fan of this. I think we talked about how Freescale is moving over to ARM, and I'm not a very big fan of that just because, I mean, You know, you can open up a whole lot of new markets like that if you're a chip maker, right? It's great. You know, you say, oh, well, now we can sell parts to everyone. It's like, yeah, well, you can, but now you're going to sell them for 50 cents, whereas you were selling them for $5 before. I mean,
and you're
it's
barely
not a bad
making
thing.
1 cent profit on each part.
Yeah, exactly. You're putting yourself into the meat grinder, and it's like, I know I sound very contradictory because on the one hand I always say, oh, well, I don't want to lock myself into platforms, right? And on the other hand, I say, well, these companies should want to lock people into their platforms. But I mean, that's the constant struggle in business, right? Of consumers wanting the most options and vendors wanting one option, namely theirs. Actually, exclusively theirs.
Oh boy, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no easy answer, but no, it's there'll continue to be other options. It's bullshit. ARM's not going to dominate the entire planet. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of discontinued products, I'm pissed.
You're
End
pissed?
of an era. Yeah.
What's that?
Heiko have discontinued the FX 888, apparently. You
now,
can
what is the
now
FX
only buy-
888? Explain this for people that don't own one like me.
It's a soldering iron, which basically follows the line from the famous Heiko 926, which I still have here on my bench. I've had it for like 25 years, maybe. It's my second iron here on the bench, the Heiko 926. Then they moved to the Heiko 936. Then they moved to the FX 888 with this fancy new industrial design case and its funky yellow and blue colour and stuff like that. Anyway, and analog, a basic analog soldering iron with a knob. Those knob things. That, all these young whippersnappers haven't heard of. Right. Where you actually turn a knob and it has like a scale on it, 350 degrees. Yep, turned around. No, apparently they're going to stop selling the analog model and they're only going to sell the FX 888D, which is the digital model. I've got nothing against a digital readout, fine, but give me a freaking knob. But now they've just got these up-down buttons, which apparently have all these different modes and crap,
Right.
So it's great
now
if you
that
want to
these
switch
processors
between
are so
two
cheap,
temperatures. But
you got to use them, right? You got to put them in every product.
Right. You've got to use that 10-cent micro,
Have you
that
seen how
50-cent
cheap
arm
these are?
micro. Yeah,
we could put them everywhere.
bastards.
Wow. Yep. Well, that's too bad.
So, Heiko, this is like one of the industry standard soldering irons, especially like it dominated the Australian market. Everyone's been using the Heiko 926 and 936 for, 30 years now or something. 20 years, 25 at least. And, they're just, why? As if it wasn't selling. It was selling like hotcakes as far as I'm aware.
Well, yeah, you don't know that for real, but I mean, very
I
well
don't
could
know.
be, right? I mean,
yeah, I don't know. It's just stupid. Give me a knob, for goodness sake.
well, I mean, that could be a lot of things, right? I mean, that really could be. I mean, more than likely, it's cost, right? I mean, digital is almost always cheaper than analog. In terms of, especially because you have a physical...
No, I don't think so. I think the FX 888... Well, you've got to have 3 7-segment displays on there. You've got to have a couple of tactile switches. Come on, all that is not
Dave,
more expensive
you can
than a carbon wiper pot. Pot, and
you have to have a reliable... No, you know as well as anyone that if you put a switch onto a board and if it's no good, you're gonna get bitched at nonstop. And if it's on a soldering iron, doubly so, right? Because if you turn your soldering iron up to 4 and it goes up to 20, you're screwed. You burn the tip off, right? I mean, it's just...
But at the very least, it's cost neutral, right? Between the two,
I don't think so, man.
Oh man, you got the huge.
I lament this as much as anyone, but no, I think
iron
you're wrong.
transformer. No. You're just fluffing around the edges with the price.
How about
here.
manufacturing costs? What about that? If you have wires in something, if you're going to start point-to-point wiring, you need
wiring in this. It's a PCB mounted.
Okay, I've never pulled one apart. So
Yeah,
I was talking about
you haven't seen my
butt.
teardown. It's a PCB mounted. Pot,
yeah, I got to start watching your videos at some point.
You're right. No, come on. No, because most of the cost in something like this goes into like the transformer and the case. Because they're a big hunking bit of iron. Yeah. I mean, it's for a good quality transformer, which these ones have. And that costs the majority of the money.
You'd be surprised how much people get cost out of transformers. I've seen some transformers go overseas and get pretty cheap.
Well, yeah, but, we're talking like a big, 80-watt transformer here. It's a
Right.
big hunking bit of iron. Right? So, anyway, I can't believe that it's just purely a cost issue. That's got to be bullshit. So, something else is going on there. Anyway, I'm not happy.
That's too bad. It sucks when you see that it's the end of an era, right? When it's...
Yeah, exactly.
You don't like to say... I mean, at the same time, we should celebrate change, but, we're human, right? We don't want to...
No, exactly. We like our products.
Change our ways.
No, exactly. Engineers are like that. They don't like change.
That's right. Speaking of change, did you see the announcement about Intel? We had a bit of change announced.
CEO retires.
Altolini. Well,
I didn't even know who Altolini is. Didn't even know who ran Intel these days. Couldn't care less.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's in charge. He's
right,
not bad.
Man.
I mean...
whatever. I'm shrugging my shoulders here.
I know. Intel's kind of beyond... It's like out of the stratosphere of, in terms
caring
of companies,
anymore.
Right? Well, caring, yeah. I mean, in terms of like who actually designs the parts in, right? I mean, to get their attention, you need to be a super high volume
Dell or a
manufacturer,
HP or you've got to be you've got
or
to
the
be a
CMs
PC
that put that stuff in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's but at the same time, it could be an interesting thing because Intel keeps dancing on we're going to go into phones, right? We just saw TI and say, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, but now Intel might go touching it.
This doesn't sound good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they always they jump in and out of the embedded market, and then they screw people over.
Intel, no. Intel made their history on the desktop PC, and that's forever where they will pretty much remain, I think.
Yeah, it sucks when you optimize for that kind of stuff, right? I mean, if you have they have a huge operation, right? They own all their fabs, they're
massive.
Process masters,
Intel.
But it's all based around these super high-end, super leading-edge processors.
Massive, and with these massive dies in them with, a billion transistors now or something.
Right. And then they come back and they say, oh, well, we shouldn't look at our Intel Core i7. Check out this Atom processor.
What happened to Atom? I don't know. Yeah, it's still used in like some netbooks and stuff, isn't it? But not many.
Is. But I mean, like in terms of like their flagship, that's like having a flagship product, right? Like you reviewed this Agilent scope, right? That 4000 series, and then it's like Agilent rolling out a 4000 series scope, and then turning around and saying, oh, but wait a second. Check out this bottom of the line, cheapest entry model, right? I mean, that's effectively what it is.
Which they've rebadged from Rigol.
Right, exactly, right? I mean, granted, Intel's not doing that, but that would be the equivalent kind of thing where it's like, oh, well, maybe you should pay attention to the bottom of the line, but buy a lot of them because we need it.
Boy. To get that one big number looking good.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Okay, here we go. I know we've been jumping around a lot already this week, but we have to talk about this 4000 series scope. Do you know what I'm going to bring up here?
Oh, not the tablet screen.
Yeah.
It's a crock of shit. You would have been able to brag if they actually didn't put a screen in it. And then you had to use your tablet.
So tell people what it is first, because then we can post about your review and your,
I haven't actually used it
first thing.
But this scope is a Windows CE based scope, right? Just like all the other
the big touchscreen
series scope, and it's got a big touchscreen on it, right? And what they've done is they've added a menu system up there to allow you to control the scope from a tablet if you so choose. And they've made this marketing claim that you can just sit back on your beanbag and sit there with your tablet and control your scope. Whoop-de-freaking do. Is my response. Because it's pointless. A scope is a hands-on instrument where you're always probing shit and doing stuff you're always within reach of it. To add a tablet control capability is so niche and stupid. It's just it puts it in the whoop-de-doo category.
I agree with that. Right now it is a whoop-de-doo thing. I totally agree. But, and I don't think you're going to be able to argue with me on this one, how long is it until someone pulls out their MBA playbook and says, wait a second, this touchscreen assembly is $100? well, we can just tell them to use a tablet. Those are $20 now in India, and you can get them overseas for this much. How long do you think it's going to be until that happens? And at that point, ha-ha!
And at that point, Agilent test and measurement equipment business goes out of business. Guaranteed.
Maybe.
Right? No,
I don't know, man.
No.
I'm just saying it's starting, and everybody listening was here to experience it. And
Nope.
printing chips is coming next.
At the very least, what they would do is they would actually integrate their own custom tablet, right, into the scope as the screen, so it sits in like a cradle in there, and
That's
you
what I
use
said
it,
to do.
and then you can pull it out, right? And then you can pull it out.
Oh, come on. That was my argument from the beginning.
Yeah, but
That's what I said.
But they're not going to use.
Yeah, you're not going to have a headless scope. You're
third-party
right.
tablet, right? They're not going to use a third-party tablet.
Well, technically it would be unless they manufacture the tablet, which they won't do. They'll just rebadge. That's what I'm saying. That's what I said from the beginning, that it would be ultimately cheaper to use a commodity tablet that they buy on the market from, some CM somewhere, and
then
just
sit it in there as a cradle in the thing.
Yeah, that's what I've said from the beginning. You starting to see the light, Dave?
No. Your reliability goes out the freaking window. And
Of course
you're
it does.
probably ultimately paying more, because if you're looking at the same screen, why can't they just buy? They've got to put all the engineering into designing the scope. So why not just buy the same screen that they can buy that's used in the tablet to begin with, toss everything else out, and just put that in there as a regular scope?
Because then you have to engineer the battery and the charger and the everything else when it's already off the shelf ready.
Why would you want to integrate it? Because it's pointless functionality.
You need
It's
a battery.
stupid.
You're going to make a wired one. I mean, how are you going to do this, Dave?
You don't do it at all.
right.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, we'll wait and see.
It's ridiculous.
We will wait and see.
It's a
and
wank.
I think
it's not going to happen. And if they do it, they'll go out of
it's
business.
so going to happen. I may give you that. You
telling
may
you.
be right about this chip printer thing in the short term. 10 years or so. But I think I'm right about this. I think we need to have a bet here. That's what I'm saying.
These devices need to be fit for the purpose, and having a removable screen is pointless. It caters to like 0.01% of the market who use these devices. It's useless to put in engineering into a removable screen.
You were thinking inside the oscilloscope
box. No, I'm
box.
thinking like a practical engineer, meeting the market demands. The market demands don't want to fiddle around with some dick-ass removable thing which has to have some removable docking connector in there. Wank, wank. That'll just go missing because you've taken the thing out and it's gone missing, right? It's bad enough when your scope goes missing from the lab.
I have no argument that you were thinking like an engineer, Dave. You were not thinking like a marketer and someone that actually ends up, speccing something in, right? That's what our listeners should know. That is what ends up making products, like it or not.
I'm not saying someone's not going to have a go at it, but I'm saying the company that does,
you're saying it'll be a flop.
This market niche is going to go out of business. You betcha.
I don't think so. I think maybe people wouldn't use it, but there's no reason they'd go out of business. Like, look at this. Okay, so there's an article here. Like I alluded to earlier. There's a $20 tablet in India right now. $20.
Come on. Where's it made? It's made in freaking China, like everywhere else.
Yeah, and
right?
Is that now? Granted, I should mention it's a $40 tablet that gets subsidized, but it's
by $20, and you can currently buy a $45 tablet wholesale in China, right? So yeah, it's $5 cheaper. Whoop-dee.
That's pretty crazy, right? Man. I mean, like,
that
is the cost
it's
of an
totally
assembly.
Awesome, right? Yeah,
I mean, like, and
it's the cost of an assembly.
30% off that if you're going to buy it wholesale, right? I mean, something like that, because they're probably selling that pretty low margin to start with.
Look, here's my prediction: you are just going to milk this thing and take every
time someone mentions
tidbit,
tablet and scope,
every time somebody mentions something, to do with a tablet having a user interface, you're going to go, I told you so. Just like the stupid chip printing machine where every time somebody mentions that they've drawn a little transistor with a freaking conductive pen, you're going to go, I told you so. Man.
I haven't done that in a while. I think our audience will note.
Yeah, because you realise you're lost, and you'll realise you'll lose on this tablet thing too.
No, the news cycle is just slow on the printing of chips industry.
Unbelievable. Let's
All
get on
right,
to something
well,
else, shall we? Hey,
Yeah,
this is
we
something
should,
I want to talk about.
Before we
What?
do that, we should mention our sponsor real quick,
Oh,
since they are
yes,
generously
we have a
sponsoring
sponsor,
us.
and we're halfway
do.
through the show.
We are. Well, sort
and
of.
they've stuck with us for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, we're in week 3. And so our sponsor is Club Jameco.
Jameco.
And yay! And so as people may have heard in past shows, you can go there and register and submit a kit idea, and you can actually get it made. I mean, that's people vote on it, but once it's voted on, then they will actually take their product engineers and work on, getting it into kit format and putting it all together, getting part number for
you
it.
don't have to do jack. You
Once
just
it's
sit
in
back
there,
and granted, you only get 10%, but at least you don't have to do anything, right? You just come up with the idea and watch it sell.
That's right. Which
is okay
And
if
so
you want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's effectively licensing. I mean, it's it's a nice deal if you want a hands-off approach, and actually, Ian of Dangerous Prototypes.
You don't get much of a better deal anywhere else, really.
I don't think so. Yeah.
There's a few other places which will kind of sort of do this thing, but yeah, like if you think you're going to come up with an idea and get your 50%, it's not going to happen.
If you manufacture, you will. But we've been picking out kits each week, and you can actually see all of them. But this week, we actually picked out Horace Mims, who people probably know from all of his Radio Shack books about electronics and getting started in electronics. Right.
Yep.
So he has a kit. He was working with Club Jameco as well. It's actually a kit of something from one of his early books called the Atari Punk Console, which I've heard of before. But yeah.
So have I, but he didn't name it that, right? Somebody else.
Right. Yeah, that was actually named by
the
Caustic
Atari.
Machines back in the 80s. So, but basically,
Right.
it's like a noise generator for chip tunes kind of stuff, and it's pretty cool.
And it's called the Atari Punk Console because it sounds very 8-bit Atari 2600 square wave
chip tune
like audio. Chip tune is a recent wank name for it, but yeah.
Yep.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah, so if people are interested,
555. Woo!
If you want to check out the kit, if you want to check out the program, you can go to clubjameco.com/theamphour, and that also helps support us here at the Amp Hour, so we really appreciate it.
We do. Thank you very much. Club Jameco.
All right, so what's next?
Somebody else is pissed off today. not just us.
It's a trend.
It is. Ironball, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Or who is, I assume his handle is
short
at
from-
Ironball.
Yes, and it's short for some longer German word. I'm not sure what it means.
Right, okay. Speaking of Germany, he went to the Electronica exhibition in Germany, which is one of the world's biggest electronics. It's massive.
It's
in
huge.
20 million halls or something,
Yeah.
I would love to go to that one day.
So
Actually,
when
I think it's only on every 2 years, isn't it?
It is, every 2 years.
And
my
I think
friend
I
got to
said
go
2
this
years
year.
ago.
I was so
right.
jealous.
Why, for work? Did he milk it from work?
He's
for
a
work?
buyer. So he got to go over
buyer. There you go.
Yep. Money.
Yeah. And I said 2 years ago, I'll try and, scrounge a trip this time around. And I just forgot. Completely. Yep. Completely forgot.
Got 2 more years to procrastinate.
Right. Yeah, I might be in Germany in another 2 years.
Maybe.
Anyway, Ironball is pissed off that when he went in there, almost everyone apparently was wearing suits.
Yeah.
Okay, right, whatever.
Yeah, it's a show.
But
I mean, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, whatever. But the worst part is, apparently, him and his friend, who weren't dressed in suits, i.e., dressed as a real engineer,
Right.
were spoken down to and looked at with contempt because they weren't
ignored and scoffed at, and it's like
from the major vendors. Apparently,
what are these companies doing? They should be. I told him, it's like people should be targeting people that are dressed normally exclusively, right? you shouldn't be targeting people in suits.
And the worse they smell. If you can smell them coming, this is someone we've got to talk to. Right.
That might be a bit judgmental there, David, but...
Come on. I've been stereotypical. But he's naming names. He went to all the biggies. Analog devices, TI, Microchip, Mouser, Farnell, DigiKey.
I am surprised at
people.
the consistency of it. That's what really surprises me, because I mean, maybe is this
not
maybe
just
a European
one dickhead
thing,
on stand,
or
right?
I don't get it. I mean, like
I assume it must be, because the ones like the ones I've gone to in the US and the couple here in Australia that they have, every so often, it's if you turn up in a suit, it's like, oh, you're in a suit. You're not.
it's a good day if I don't turn up in my Zumbas.
Engineer.
Like it's or my my jams.
Jams?
Yeah, 1980s like
Zumbas?
colorful shorts.
What?
Yeah, these are like
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, you don't remember those?
Right. No. It must be a brand name, is it?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, people listening, some of them will know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
So
who dresses up for a show? That's like people saying, "Oh, well, I dressed up to get on an airplane." Yeah, okay. Yeah, in the 70s
Right.
maybe, like
Like, understandable, the people on the stands, yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But because you want to give a professional appearance, wank, wank. But,
yeah.
not the... You've all got to dress similar. I've been on a trade show stands where, we have official company guidelines on, the colour of clothes you're allowed to wear and the type and,
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Tell someone who cares.
Right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is this a European thing? Please, our European listeners, let us know.
Yeah. I know that
It seems totally different.
some places are more fashion conscious than others, but still, why would you judge someone, like I said, I mean, you want to target people that just are excited about stuff, that's what I don't understand that. But at the same time, you have to think about, who's also manning stands. It's usually public relations type people, and it's hopefully people that would be in tune with engineers, but not necessarily.
Well, not always.
Right.
Oh, well, no, I found at these shows you can usually find someone cluey, right? Well, they've got a mix of sales and engineer types on the stand, and you can always pick them apart.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
For sure.
If you step back and you can tell the slick-ass salesman who knows jack about technical anything,
Yep.
right? Wouldn't even be able to flash an LED, and you can tell the engineer, and you spot them a mile away.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you always,
And not from dress either, just from, demeanor.
or from
and
smell. No.
Or from smell. No, it's just from like, honestly, it's usually excitement about a product, right? That's a really big one,
exactly.
If you see one who's actually excitedly talking about a tiny little dev board, that's usually an engineer, it's someone, or if not an engineer, someone that just worked on it, right? Someone who wants to show off the capabilities of what they're working on. And that's the kind of people I always want to talk to at shows anyways. Who wants to talk to the schmoozers, ugh. That's not my
You
thing.
can often tell them by their watch too. If they're wearing a cheap ass Casio, or they're wearing a scientific
lives large
calculator
here at the
watch,
amp hour.
Yeah. Or if they're wearing a shiny, Rolex, analog Rolex or something, then salesman. Right. Whatever.
Let's
Avoid
definitely
at all
fight
costs.
prejudice with prejudice here, Dave.
But no, and I judge people based on what they say, and how they act, not what they bloody well look like, or if they're male or female, or what race they are, or whatever, or whether or not they do smell from a mile away, or whether or not they're, some scrawny, wheelie little nerd, or if they're in a wheelchair or whatever. I don't give a toss.
The one thing to watch out for at shows is to make sure they actually work for the company you're at the stand at. I made that mistake before where I'm like talking to someone and I'm like, you don't actually work here, do you? You just really like this product. I should tip me off that you weren't wearing the shirt.
Times. Yeah.
It's fun still. I mean, don't get me wrong. Those people are usually, if they're more excited, let me show you about this thing. Cool. Well, I'd love to see it, but you don't work here.
So it would have been interesting if I went to this thing, because I wouldn't be wearing a suit.
Me neither.
Or
I
even
don't
a
own
collared
any.
shirt. No, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah. If people are in Europe, let us know. I mean, the point I tried to get across to Einball is that it's actually Jan don't let it get you down. Like there's always going to be people that are look down on electronics, or nerdy people, or whatever the reason is, right? Don't let it turn you away from the field or anything like that. It's just you have to work to find the awesome people. There are people out there that are excited, and once you find them, hang out with those people. They're the ones you're gonna hang out with, anyways. I mean,
and don't let them change you or your opinion next time. Next time, turn up even rattier looking deliberately.
Right.
Right.
Or take a picture of the person that made fun of you.
Flip the bird.
Put them on a T-shirt.
And post it on Twitter, and I'll retweet it.
Yeah, exactly right.
This guy is a dickhead. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man. Unbelievable. Yeah, I haven't encountered that at shows before. I find vast majority of people roaming around in very casual attire.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, it's
different market.
It's too bad, but hopefully it doesn't get you on down too much.
Is it similar to other sort of techie but non-hardcore shows like the CES in Las Vegas and stuff like that? Because I've never been to one of those.
Me neither.
We have to get out more.
We do. Tell me about it. Again, though, electronics nerd, so maybe not.
Right. Okay. Fair call.
Yeah.
Ah, boy. You wanted to crap on about another trend.
Yes. Which one?
Web. Which one? Yeah, you've got many.
We do, yeah.
More ones that you poke a stick at. You wanted to crap on about web-based ECAD tools.
Yeah. And
Go
so this has been an increasing. Well, this has been an increasing trend, right? So this past week we saw an announcement that Upverter, which was they were talking about starting up. To start out with, they had schematics that you could share online and collaborate and everything. And there was another one called Circuit B that was very similar. Well, this week, Upverter also included layout. And they have, what else? I think they have where you can actually start to export it to CAD companies and everything like that. And so, it's really interesting. And actually then I started emailing as well with Circuits.io, which was up online. They had a similar announcement.
I think they contacted me as well.
Yeah, they had a similar announcement a couple weeks prior. And so I've been talking, I think it was Ben, and we've been talking about, what they're planning to do and everything like that. And it's actually, it's a similar service. It's got a layout tool, it's got a,
Every man his dog
layout.
seems to be doing this. And aren't some of the vendors offering, like DigiKey or somebody like that offering some similar online tools and stuff?
Oh,
Everyone
we've talked about that
jumping
before.
on the bandwagon.
Well, no, so I would put, Circuits.io and Upverter are now in their own category because they have a layout tool in the browser, which is different.
Right.
DigiKey
so
and
that's
a couple
the
others actually
differentiator,
had
you
it.
think?
Yeah, DigiKey
Right.
actually had a layout tool for sharing schematics, and they were interactive schematics, but ultimately that's really not that useful. I mean, it's interesting, but it's not.
No, we've talked about this. Why would anyone bother using an online web tool except if you want to just share a very simple one-off circuit or something like that?
Right. Right. Exactly.
It's very limited. So the differentiator seems to be the inclusion of a PCB tool to make it a proper ECAD package.
Right. And the real power there is not just that it's they are free tools, at least for now. There's schematic entry and layout is free, but KiCad is also free, right? I mean, I've talked about KiCad,
of course.
But the real killer, and this is really is good, is you can watch someone lay out a board live, which is cool because you can work with friends,
it's
assuming
cool,
you have some way to.
But is it practical?
Well, I was gonna get to that, Dave.
Altium have a live collaboration feature, right?
Right.
And I can tell you, I've tried to use it. I tried to use it during the development of the thing. And it's cool.
It's
but
cool.
From a practical point of view, it sucks ass.
Sucks ass, right.
Right?
It's tough because ass.
Or how do you pronounce ass in Chinese now?
Oh, I don't know.
Us. Sucks ass. Sorry. Apologies to all Chinese listeners.
But yeah, the tough part about that is just the dynamics of team interaction there, right? I mean, working with someone on an electronics project, that is immediately jumping into design by committee, right? That is the definition of it because you have multiple people.
Engineers are solo creatures. They don't like being watched over their shoulder as they design something.
Not even
they
a like thing.
Collaborating.
It's not even a like thing. That's just some engineers like collaborating. I like collaborating. I like working on big projects bigger than I could do by myself. But
of course.
But at the same time, I don't want someone to jump into my schematic halfway through and say, "Oh, well, why didn't you do this and that and this and that and this and that?" And then all I can say to them is, well, you weren't here. I already tried all this stuff. Like that's the ultimate. That is the worst feeling in the world, where someone rattles through all of the things that they thought, and then you've already tried all of them, and you have to prove it. That is like that is worse than being on the phone with a technical magazine talking about what parts you're authorized to buy. Right? I would honestly rather sit on the phone with someone at a call center telling them what parts I'm authorized to buy. How bad is that? Pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating because you have to defend everything, right? You want to get to the end and then have a design review where you can say, here's the holistic view of what I was looking at, and then you defend yourself.
What are you getting at here? That the collaboration aspect of these tools is a wank. Is that what you're getting at?
It's awesome.
It's not practical.
It's awesome, and it's good
but not practical.
for revision tracking. The revision tracking is actually what the power of this is. So you have revision tracking, and it's a public revision tracking, right? And that's what they were really going for. They were going for like a GitHub style.
Got it.
Now, they actually, the way, if you think about how this is probably set up, it's probably, you move a component from coordinate XY to coordinate XY, X2, Y2. They were just tracking that in a database. That is what they're doing, and so they can backtrack it. That's good and bad, right? I mean, because if you're the kind of person like, sometimes make little moves and little adjustments, that gets really annoying. But at the same time, it's just it's all recorded. And so that's nice. The GitHub kind of thing is more of a snapshot, and then you commit it, right? So there is a difference there, because you don't always want to capture all the minutia. Sometimes you want to capture just the difference.
That doesn't work well for me, because I'm one of these nervous people who have this habit. It's almost a subconscious thing of like saving my work every 2 minutes. Like every time I make a major change, save. Boom, boom. I've got this macro finger thing happening on the keyboard, right? And I'm paranoid, and I end up with 1,000 different revision files in my backup folder. So this online collaboration thing is. For me, when you're live doing it, it'd be a pain in the ass. Even though I haven't tried this, I can just imagine.
There would be no save, though.
It'd be
That's
stupid.
The thing.
It'd be right. Well, it'd be like at the end of the day when I choose to commit it, then that's fine and dandy.
Right, and that would be more like GitHub is, right? I mean, that's you hit commit. It's active. It's an action, right? It's it's a decision.
Yeah. Right.
So that good and bad side, that's. But ultimately, it's cool, right? It's cool, and it's it's good for collaboration in general. I don't think live collaboration is really. I think that's more of a wank, like you said. But it's cool. I mean, it really is. It is cool. Now, the real thing that I would be interested in, and I know I've talked to. Oh God, I hope it's Ben. The thing that they're working on is the back end stuff, right? So working with board houses, right, and having one-click orders, and working on all the other stuff.
They mentioned that to me as well, yeah.
Right. So and all that other stuff with it, and they said that eventually they might go towards a model where one person can upload it, and then it becomes a library, like a sub-circuit library. So you have a non-inverting op amp, right? You can just pull that out with a very specified op amp, and it just drops it in your circuit. And I really like that, from a modular design standpoint. And that back-end
stuff can be their revenue stream.
Right,
that keeps them going.
Yeah,
so potentially, all the tools can be free, but they offer these value-added, easy one-click services. That's where they can make their money from.
Exactly, and that's really the value for you and me. And I think that's quite
viable. Yep.
Right. Yep. Exactly, and it's not just based on like KiCad is based on interest and open source software. Goodwill of wanting to work on a project. So.
And I would caution them, and I think they may already be doing this, but if they're not, I would caution them if they're going to do something like that and make that their revenue model. Make sure that anyone can use it, not just somebody using their tools. Make sure that anyone can use that service by uploading their own Gerbers from whatever, if they want to make money, for example, on getting the board manufactured.
Yeah.
Upload using any other tool,
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that idea. I mean, it starts to smell of the ecosystem thing that I complimented and lamented earlier, right? Of locking people in, it's good from the vendor side, but bad from the consumer side, right? some of it would be a good benefit, right? I mean, to be able to say one-click order a board, order the parts, even send it to an assembler, like that kind of stuff, that's the holy grail, right? Now, granted, you're going to pay some margin for that, but more than likely, if you're actually doing anything fast, that is totally worth it. I mean, it's just if you do it right and you can have the library updated and the parts already associated, like that's a killer app. I mean, really, it would be. But at the same time, when you want to get it out, that do you have to pay money for that? Like there's just a lot of other questions.
Yeah,
so.
right.
And I told all this stuff to Ben too. So,
as always, the devil is in the detail. One small little thing can absolutely piss somebody off, and they won't use your tool again.
Oh, right. Well, and this is all before we even talked about the actual layout. Right? I mean, like there are just tons and tons of quirks in Altium and Mentor and Allegro and like all of these things. Like there's just so many quirks that people are used to, and people say their preferences. Well, no, it's just more of a, that's what they learned on, right? Like people can relearn anything, but they don't want to. And so more often than not, they will throw down the money for the license to just keep doing it the way they're doing it, because that shift is just so hard. And which means that they'll only really get new people or people that are very adventurous. So it's interesting.
It'll be interesting to see how this whole web-based ECAD market folds out. I don't think they're going to take any part of the professional market at all. I can't see it.
Well, near term, because it's like what I said.
Yeah,
I mean, it's,
near term.
If you get students now, right? If you get people that are working on it for like a college project, they're working with their buddies on a board, and they get really used to it. That's the same kind of thing that happens. They develop these ties, and then if the company can survive the fledgling stages of being a company, then they could make it. They could grow and continue to develop their tool, the browser tools, and web stuff can keep getting better. Cloud storage isn't going away anytime soon. So
one of the big problems with this, though, is that you cannot sort of you don't have a snapshot of the program at that particular point in time, because you've got to run it in the browser on their server or whatever. Right. It is, and so if you come back in 5 years' time and know, that file was done back in that version, you can't just, bring out an old floppy disk of,
right?
We're going back. Bring out an old floppy disk. Here's the install version I used to design this one, and go back and use it. And
which is a big
that's
deal.
Which is a big deal and a big fear of any professional working in the ECAD market.
Yeah, exactly. But on the other side, that could be a value add, right? They could say, well, we'll sell you a snapshot every 6 months, right? I mean, that could be a revenue model for them, but that's not for me or you to really say. I mean, they can figure that out.
Well, of course, yeah.
Personally, what I'd like to see, and what I told him, I mean, like this is a very big thing for me, is I would love to see it so that, okay, I'm working online with you on a board, right? You and I are, even just daily trading back and forth because we're in different time zones, right? That's I leave you an email and here's what I did today, and you take it away, right? And then you do the same. Mm-hmm. Well, say I go to my wife's farm and there's no internet out there, right? What I want more than anything is I want this to work with KiCad. Now, I know that that's very selfish for me because, but at the same time, all that source code is online, and like getting that kind of compatibility and then that offline mode. If all that stuff was together, whew, man, that would be. These are all just blue sky wish lists, but if anyone else is listening out there and you do it first, I'll try it.
Speaking of blue sky stuff, there's a few comments in here in regards to this post on the Reddit thing, and people start talking about, I hope they get the the 3D modeling right, and I hope they get the simulation right, and I hope and here we go. Right, just my advice to these companies, the Upverter and the Circuit IOs, stick to core PCB and schematic and get it nailed and get it right. Don't dick around wasting your time.
Or pull in other stuff, right? That's what I'm saying, is pull in KiCad or something else.
Yeah, or something like that. Or have easy exports to a better tool. That'll do the job, like the 3D viewing or something like that. Export it to a
the app model of
whatever,
making one thing really good, right?
Exactly. Rather than, it's trying to, I know, we'll put an auto router in this thing now. So we'll spend the next 12 months of our development time getting the auto router. Nobody gives a shit, right? They just want a solid PCB schematic. Thank you very much.
And this should be a public service announcement. If you are using an auto router, you are wrong. You are wrong. You slap your hand right now, Mr. or Mrs.
And don't dick around doing a simulator.
No.
Just put in
God,
an export
make it work with LT Spice. That's all I care about.
Export to LT Spice. Thank you very much. End of story. Right?
Done.
So that everyone can continue to work on their specialized tools. I know it's not the whole, integrated model and, it's this silo-based thing, another wank word. If you're playing along wank word bingo at home, there it is.
We added new terms this week too, by the way.
Right? What?
To the bingo sheet.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Well, there you go. Silos. You can tick that one off if it's on there.
Yeah.
Yes, it is silo-based because that actually works.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and if you do it well, people will come back, right? I mean, but at the interface, right, when you go from, if you're really good at doing schematics and you're going to have someone else work on layout stuff, keep your format open, right? I mean, everybody's afraid to... That's one of the best things about the open source hardware and software movement is people figuring out open data, even though you don't get to control every piece of it, you get to control some of it, right? I mean, you get to do the one thing really well. And if someone else comes in, well, then you go work on something else, right? I mean, I know that sucks from a business perspective, but from a overall perspective from a consumer's standpoint, that's awesome. I really liked when Eagle went to the XML format. I mean, I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
I haven't used it since, but I mean, the fact that people can see that stuff and that it's more open, that's a really good start. So kudos to them, and that would allow a Upverter or a Circuits.io to pull in that data if they were just going to the back end, order PCBs and parts and everything else at once. So we want you to succeed.
Well,
we love this stuff.
Well, I still don't like the online aspect. Sorry.
Oh, well, that's okay. But I mean, if it's out there, right? I mean, it's nice, right? I could see you doing a tutorial. If multiple people could see it at once, you could do a tutorial and you could show people how to lay out stuff, right? I mean, that's kind of cool. Actually showing a layout live. That's a cool thing, or from a class perspective, right? I mean, online learning is going through the roof, right? Well, what happens when a teacher, you don't want to watch it on a video. You don't want to watch it all at once.
Why not? That's a very good condensed format.
I guess so, but I mean, but if you want a live interaction with it, if you want to ask, why did you move that there, right?
Different.
I mean, then you actually have that kind of option now. So, Well, and then there's the whole 3D CAD thing. I mean, you and I were talking about this before the show too. I tried out Tinkercad, and it's mostly I was looking for a free 3D CAD program, and it's not it.
Well, so am I, and I thought I found one, and here's a rant.
Yeah.
Okay? This pisses me off. I've tried dozens of these different free free CAD tools, right? 3D CAD tools to try and, just do simple stuff for my 3D printer, right? And import step files of project cases and just do a simple mod, put some holes in it, and export to the MakerBot thing, right?
Yeah.
And
the thing.
And most of them, right? Most of them either do not import step files correctly. They don't do this. They don't do that. They don't export to STL properly. They don't. Oh, they're a pain in the ass to use. They're not intuitive. Whatever. Anyway, I've tried them all, I think, and I finally found one that seemed to just be simple and do the job. And it was Autodesk 123D. Get it? What 123D?
Yes, 3D. Yes, I get it.
Sorry, it's sort of, I just like the name because it brings back memories of Lotus 123 and 3D.
Oh, God, Lotus. Yeah. The bane of my existence.
Yeah.
I still use Lotus Notes if you didn't know that.
Oh, really?
It's terrible.
Okay.
Absolutely terrible.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Lotus. That was a classic. They bet big, by the way, a bit of computer history here. Back then, they rewrote, they wrote it from the ground up in 8086 assembly language just for the IBM PC, and they were betting that the IBM PC would be the platform, and they won. It was the big platform, and Lotus 123. Well, it was the industry standard for, maybe 5 years there or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they
But that
won
was a
big
different
anyway.
era too, right? I mean, that was an era of very closed
totally.
machines because you had to be so vertically integrated. These days, it's so distributed.
Yeah.
Oh, goodbye.
Anyway, let's not go there. Anyway, Autodesk, the makers of AutoCAD and all that sort of, all that high-end stuff, they, this free tool 123D, and I was using the beta version, and it seemed to do exactly what I want. It imported the step file brilliantly from Polycase and Hammond, the project cases. It imported them. I was able to, add holes easily. I was able to delete things. Did exactly what I want, and it had a specific export function, export to a 3D printer file, right? An STL. It was specifically designed for that.
Yeah.
And I thought brilliant. So yesterday, I actually started shooting a video review of this, right? Well, not like a video tutorial of how to do, how to use this tool, 123D, to do project cases and actually print something useful with your 3D printer instead of doing little, Yoda heads or something like that.
Right, yeah.
And I was halfway. And so I found they had released the new, like the actual full version of it, right? It wasn't beta anymore. They went to the proper release. Oh, I'll download that. It'll have a few extra improvements. Oh, no! They've totally changed everything from the beta version. It seems that no longer can you export to an STL file. You kind of can, but you've got to log in. You've got to log into their online recording, their online, account thing. So you've got to create an account on their website. You've got to log in. You've got to save it to My Projects in that account file or something. It's absolutely ridiculous because and I quote them. Here we go. I will quote them. They say that...
You will do it.
I will. I'll quote you.
Swear to God.
Gully Numa. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name, so I won't try. He's saying that, it was this release version was based on all this user feedback, and it was designed to be so simple to use, and it was to be designed for people who do not have a 3D printer at home because nobody has a 3D printer at home. So they've optimized this thing to export so that it automatically goes to their website, and then you can order your part from a list of approved vendors, of 3D printer objects.
Oh, so
which is kind of
Shapeways
cool,
and stuff
right?
like that, yeah.
Yeah, Shapeways and all that sort of stuff. I don't know who they support, but yeah, stuff like that, right? But so they're saying that nobody has a 3D printer at home, and by that implying that nobody ever will, and so we're going to drop support for direct, and they've dumbed the whole thing down. Like they're implying that the users of this software are so dumb that they do not. It would be too confusing for them to have a menu up the top that says export to STL file.
Right.
That's what they're saying. They're saying, no,
or they don't want to, and they just say that.
It's like, and I like the beta version. This is probably the only program I've ever used where the final release version or a next version of the program is so massively dumb compared to the previous version.
Right.
I don't know. Hang on, bang my head. Hang on.
Nice. That's good audio. That's good audio, Dave. Well, man, you get what you pay for, right? I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's free. Okay, but
yeah.
Oh man, and anyway, I'm going to struggle. I'm going to continue to struggle with it and try and get it because it was fairly intuitive to use, but they changed the whole menu interface and everything. Idiots.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they've gone this all online cloud web, and the thing's available as a tablet version as well. And they're saying that one does not support the STL export at all. You have to use the PC version. Right. And they've got a web-based version as well, just like we were talking about Upvoter and Circuit.io, right? They've got a web-based version. They're saying that one does not support export either. Fail all round. Stop me, please.
Speak with your wallet. Well, the interesting thing about all this stuff is that I wonder about it from a working on new stuff, not a new stuff kind of thing, but just a evolving with technology thing, right? I mean, you keep up with technology, I keep up with technology, but a lot of people in our industry are aging, and they're kind of getting. It's just tough keeping up with technology in general. It's definitely an active act, right? whether or not people do is up to them and, to their own detriment. But I'm interested in this because we keep seeing stories about ageism, right? And if you don't keep up with the times, there's always value in knowing older stuff, like, still being a COBOL cowboy and, being able to program assembly and yada, yada, yada.
Analog design, analog.
Hell yeah, right? I mean, being an analog designer, right? I am at the younger end of the bracket, I think.
You're a dinosaur, dude.
Well, to be honest, the analog people most people talk about are chip designers. I am an analog system designer, but yeah, even that, I mean, it's old guys. Come on.
Oh, okay. So you're a flying dinosaur.
Yes.
Right.
I'd say I'm more of one of those little tiny dinosaurs that nibbles at ankles, Well, so
oh boy! All right.
I wanted to pair my question though with also a question that you posted as well. You posted a question that someone had on the EV blog forum about if it's too late to ever change to electronics. But my question is, should once you're in electronics, should people then plan to move out of electronics? Because I know people that have, and I don't know. I think it's interesting that people actually plan their own obsolescence as an electronics person.
Well, I don't think you'd ever plan it, would you? You'd just do it. If you got jack of it, you'd just bugger off.
I know a guy that's in school to get an MBA. That's technically planning. He said he's gonna, go become product person, right? He's
worthless. Yep. So it's going from a practical person to just somebody who's in the way. Yeah, good move.
I wouldn't say that to his face.
But you can earn more.
Well, and that's usually what it comes down to, right? I mean, there's a plateau of usually earning potential, but I think some of that is also people leave the industry, so they move on to other stuff, and so it kind of is self-fulfilling.
Right.
So I don't know what I don't know why I brought this up, I guess. I brought it up because you posted about this too. Is it too late to change?
We're at the end of the show and we're struggling.
Oh, we're not
Is it
struggling.
too late to change?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it like somebody asked? Yeah. I mean, are you ever too old to change from whatever it is you're doing now and get into the field of
I've had people ask me this too. Like a lot of people that are hobbyists that are interested in getting into electronics. As a career. No, I think the answer is no.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Wait, it is too late or what?
No. The answer is no. It's not too late. It never is too late.
Right.
If you've got a passion to do something, you do it.
Right. And now the real question though is whether you want to do it as a living, right? If it's if it's something that you just enjoy doing, is it something you want to try and earn money at? Because there's a whole other range of things that come along with doing electronics for a living versus doing it as a hobby, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many days I've spent just figuring out bombs, right? I mean, like
doing electronics for a living can be frustrating.
Right, exactly. It's like you say,
you don't deal with is real, right?
And you don't get into electronics to get your design jollies. You do it to because that's just what you do, and then you get your design jollies at home, right? That's the idea you always promote.
Well, you get the crumbs at work where you can,
right? Of course.
But usually it's more crumb-like than feasting every day.
Right, exactly. And there's that stuff at home too. I mean, you still have to order parts and figure it all out, but you can continually design circuits if you want to and never fabricate them, or whatever, or even if you just want to plop stuff down on a breadboard, you can do that every day.
I love a friend of mine who said that in a big company, being an electronics engineer in a big company is like seagulls pecking over the last chip. Like mine.
Yeah.
Because like the interesting, the really interesting work that people want to do is, few and far between.
Of course,
and there's a lot of internal competition to do that.
Yeah,
and
best case scenario, you're a small, you work on something very small within a much bigger, platform or assembly, and you get a nice chunk of that design. But at the same time, then that also means you're focusing just on that chunk of design. You don't get as much system level stuff, which is the stuff that I love. I mean, it's just
well, system level stuff to a good engineer can be as boring as batshit sometimes because you're so bogged down in the in the overall system design that you can't actually do anything
That's true
real.
too. That's true. Yeah, you don't have time for tinkering on a optimizing for current draw or something like that, right?
You find that you're not actually actually designing any circuits. You're not laying out any boards. You're not doing any simulations. Not doing anything. You're too busy doing paperwork at the top end.
That's true. Yeah, I guess it depends how you define system. I guess that's what it. But yeah, it's either way.
There's a huge range there. Yeah,
yeah, there is. So I think to the poster on the EV blog forum, I think it's not too late. Just try and go in with your eyes open. Talk to a lot of people. Talk to, of course, listen to your favorite Amp Hour podcast or your electronics podcast, which might be the Amp Hour, to learn more about the experiences of two people and wonderful guests as well. But yeah, talk to people. That's the important thing. Figure it out. Figure out what you want to do and how a day actually might be like in order to make that decision.
Yep, it's tough. But
okay,
if you like something, you cannot make a bad decision by doing it for a living.
Unless that thing is, let's see, insert something funny here. Unless you like punting puppies. That's a bad decision. Do not do that. Bad decision.
Punting cats is fine, though.
I might edit this out. I'm just saying. Okay, one last thing I wanted to point out, because I think this is a really fun bit of trivia. I was talking with DigiKey on Twitter, right? Did you know what
I can't believe you haven't... I can't believe you've never heard of this.
Okay, well, you obviously know what this is. The -ND at the end of a DigiKey part number. See, the problem is you come from the catalog days, and I didn't. I think that's what it is. So -ND at the end of every DigiKey part is, Dave?
No discount.
So
Bugger
weird.
off.
That's so weird. Yep. And so that they said that just stuck on every part, and they just
it's stuck on because it doesn't make it's not, it doesn't mean that anymore. But they stuck it on as a differentiator to identify that as a DigiKey part number, as opposed to a Mouser part number, or as opposed to the manufacturer's part number.
Yeah.
So often the DigiKey part number will be exactly the same as the manufacturer's part number with -ND on the end.
Right, and that's what I actually asked about, because some of them have their own part numbers, and I like it when it's just the manufacturer part number and you just tag a little thing on the end. That's great.
Yeah.
Makes it really easy.
Yep.
All right, I think we're good for this week. What do you think? Anything else?
Yeah, done and dusted. I've ranted enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and try this pathetic 123D program.
Oh, yeah, get back to that.
What do I want for free? You get what you pay for,
You get
folks.
what you pay for, man. Yeah, sometimes, video software was another one, right? You paid for that. That worked out okay, right?
Yeah.
And much like our program...
People watch my videos for free, and much like our program's free.
Say, you get what you pay for.
You get your pay for, folks.
Suckers.
You're in no position to demand anything.
And,
this is a dictatorship.
Yeah, and a 180-degree turn of that, if you do like this program, we love it when people give us a nice rating on iTunes. Or, if you don't, you can give us a crappy rating, too. So iTunes ratings are great. If you want to tweet to us or about us, we're at the Amp Hour on Twitter. We'll see you next week.
Tell your friends.
This episode of the Amp Hour was sponsored by Club Jameco, who allows you to upload your kit idea and make up to 10% of the sale price without ever needing to buy or bag components. Go to clubjameco.com/theamphour to see the kit discussed on this week's show and to support the show.